We're here at Tim Hortons Field. I'm with the Spec, Steve Milton. And Steve, this is our first look inside the stadium. What are your first impressions?
I really like it. I mean, I knew I was going to, but I see why the players were pretty emotional about this yesterday. And I see why Austin told me a couple of weeks ago when he first came in here and you know, things were down, the turf was down, that it felt more like a bowl than he had expected. And there's not even people at either end. Once you put people at either end, there's going to be much more of a bowl effect here, I think, than we ever thought of, and probably a little more than was at the old stadium once they tore down the west side stands. I like it. I like the 8-foot wall there. It creates an intimacy by lowering the stadium. It's you know, you really feel like it's on top of you, and the players are really sensing that. I think we were worried about the intimacy factor because of the size of the place, and so far, to me, I think my worries on that are assuaged. I'm pretty impressed. Color scheme, I'm not sure about. I like it, but I don't know why it is, and I'm looking for an explanation on that.
One of the interesting things about the stadium is that it's been turned 90 degrees, so the orientation of the stadium is completely different, which changes the sightlines completely. You don't have the same views of the neighborhood that you did the last time around, and that does change the feel of the stadium somewhat.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, from the one end you can see a little bit more up to the mountain. The thing that I first found, and I'm glad you said that and talked about turning the stadium around, because I had a feeling that was a bit counterintuitive when I walked in, and it had to do with the wind. And I realized all those years going to the stadium, you get used to sort of the wind coming, yeah, and the wind did change there a lot, but you sort of had to feel that it came across your face. Now it was coming in a different direction. It kind of gave me a little bit of a start until I remembered, oh yeah, they switched this around.
Well, one of the things that, when we talk about the football side of things, you know, one of the factors will be the turf, and we talked to some of the players and coaches yesterday who were raving about the turf, about it, the fact that it was level and it's quite soft and comfortable. But obviously for quarterbacks and especially kickers, how the wind blows will be an influence of how they play in the stadium.
Well, and as we all know, at least all football fans know from Professor
Paul
Osbaldiston, the wind changes here significantly when the temperature over the lake cools. And then it comes up and it hits the escarpment, and really, he doesn't make the second most famous field goal in Hamilton Ticat history if he doesn't have that knowledge, because the wind was insane. And I think now he's going to have to work a little bit with Justin Medlock. He works sort of for the Ticats in the media department now, which I think is very dangerous. But I think he should be working a little bit with him now. Not so much at this time of year. This is a real professional, Justin Medlock. But I think later in the year, when the temperature changes the way the wind acts, it makes it much more capricious come mid-October.
One final word on the stadium. I mean, one of the things about Ivory Wind was that it had a personality, it had character, it had grit, obviously. There was lots of, it had some mojo. And one of the things that I'll be interested to see is whether any of that mojo travels, whether or not in a new stadium like this, whether you'll still have that sort of Ivory Wind feel, whatever that was.
But Ken Austin said it will not be the team that defines the stadium. I talked to him about it last week. He said it will be the fans, and that he would like to see the same kind of rowdyism. That's a difficult place for people to play. I agree with you. I think there's a waiting period on this because people are going to be a bit in awe, and it's a bit hard to get Zumba about things when you're in awe. So, you know, and there'll be some cynicism at the start too, because people carry cynicism with them no matter what they see when they actually get there. So I think it might take a little while. If they get in here for Monday or Tuesday against the Argos, I think that's a really, really great start, because it's automatic against the Argos to do that. If they wait, if they have to wait a game or two, then you're going to see a whole different, I think, evolution of what the spirit of this place is. And hopefully it doesn't happen on the first day. I mean, things should evolve. The spirit of Ivory Wind did not happen when Civic Stadium was opened in 1930. And in fact, the football wasn't even played there till the 40s. It probably didn't really evolve to the great teams of the 50s that were based on smash-mouth football. Let's sort of see what happens with that. It's not quite a smash-mouth football the way that's played anymore.
Reporting from Tim Hortons Field with the Spec, Steve Milton, I'm Drew Edwards.